It's 9 p.m. Monday night. While the rest of the world slows down, you're tuning in to the Final Boss podcast. This is Motivation Mondays, where mindsets shift, hustle gets honored, and the 6 pillars of success get broken all the way down. We're talking motivation, resilience, sacrifice, consistency, persistence, and perseverance. Hosted by the one and only Turbo, the CEO, bringing real talk, raw stories, and relentless energy to spark your week with purpose. So lock in, take notes, and remember, success ain't just a dream, it's a discipline.
Welcome to the one and only The Final Boss podcast. Listen, I got a great show for you tonight. Listen up. Let me make sure. Okay. All right. Sounds a little. Test. 1, 2, 1, 2. Look, I got a great show, man. Listen, before we get started, I would like to say thank you to each and every last single one of you for joining us, for being here. This is the Final Boss podcast. I am the one and only the Final Boss. And tonight, we have a great show for you tonight. This is episode number 178, on our way to episode number 200 people. Man, that 200 will end season 3 and begin season 4 will start at episode number 201. Episode number 201 will be the rebirth. Next season is the rebirth. And I have a lot of good stuff going on for you guys for episode number 201 or season 4. Man, we're going to be doing a lot of different things in season 4, man. Even traveling, right? Traveling and being on location to different spots, locations, maybe even around the world. You never know, man. You never know. But look, tonight is the night. It is Motivation Monday. And what do we do on Motivation Monday? We get motivated. So before we even get started, man, let's go ahead and get rid of this right here. Nope. Because guess what? It's go time, baby. It is go time. If you haven't gotten go time, all aboard the fired up train, make sure you go get go time, all aboard the fired up train. This is my first book. Where all books are sold. Go time, all aboard the fired up train. This is your motivation workbook. This is your motivation workbook, man. And like I said before, man, we're going to go ahead and get into tonight's episode. But before we do, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Look, man, let me tell you, right? Let me tell you this. We're coming to you live, right? Motivation Monday, episode 178. And tonight is not just another episode. Tonight is historic. It's going to be historic because tonight we're completing tier 3. We're completing tier 3, right? Completing tier 3 of elite execution. We started this journey with episode number 163, where I gave you the 6 pillars of execution and teaching you how to deploy at championship levels. Episode 168, we gave you the 5 seals of empire, right? Teaching you how to multiply across all domains. And tonight, episode 178, I'm giving you the 3 thrones of mastery, right? Teaching you how to claim your position as a final boss, right? But here's what makes tonight different from any other episode. Tonight, we're not just learning, you're claiming, right? See, for the last few weeks, you've been executing, you've been scaling, you've been building, but there comes a moment in every final boss journey where you stop preparing to rule and you actually claim the throne, people, the throne. That's what we're going to be doing. And tonight is that moment, right? Tonight is that moment. And you know who I am. I'm the final boss. You know my history. You know my story, right? I don't need to go through that. And listen, for those who don't know, I'm a two-time war veteran, right? Two different theaters, actually three, man. I keep forgetting about the third one. I don't know why I keep doing that. Hello, Miss Andrea from Germantown. Hey, as I was saying, three-time war deployments, 23 years of federal service. I was at the Pentagon on 9/11, right? I was doing fiber optics then. So a little bit about me, man. But we're here to build legacy, right? That's why we're here. We're here to build legacy, right? This is the time movement. This is the Final Boss movement, Final Boss Nation, Final Boss community. We have actually transformed, and now, right, we have 350,000 followers underneath our belt, right? And we're moving from chess piece to chess master. And I'm about to show you the 3 thrones that every final boss must claim. Throne 1 is excellence, undeniable quality that makes you category of 1, right? Throne number 2 is influence. You must market leadership that defines your sector. And throne number 3, which is legacy. We're always talking about legacy, lasting impact that transcends over time, right? And not just your time, but in your time, your lifetime, and afterwards, right? That's legacy. These aren't goals you pursue. These are thrones you claim, right? And when you sit on all 3 thrones simultaneously, you don't compete in your market. You own it. And if you're ready to stop competing and start dominating, listen, if you're in the chat, drop me a crown, man. Drop a crown in the chat. Let me know where my kings and queens at, man. Drop a crown in the chat if you ready to sit on top of your throne, right? Because tonight we're completing tier 3, and then you're graduating from builder to emperor, right? All aboard the fired up train, right? Now arriving at the throne room. Let's go, people. Let's go, man. So before we get into it, let's go through the brass tacks of the evening. And the brass tacks of the evening is this: you can execute at elite levels and still be invisible. You can scale to significant size and still be forgettable. But when you claim the 3 thrones, that's right, 3. When you achieve undeniable excellence, definitive influence, and lasting legacy, you don't just win in your market, you define it. You don't just participate in your sector, you own it. You don't just build a business, you create a kingdom. And guess what, people? Guess what? The brass tacks comes out of here. That's a quote from me. And Go Time. Make sure you go get Go Time, man. Go Time, all aboard the fired up train. That quote came from out of here, man. 6 pillars of success. I'm here to tell you, man. I am here to tell you. That's my own words, my own quote, right? So we just discussed what the 3 thrones are. Now listen, over the past 3 weeks, right? Over the past 3 weeks. Yes, Jesus loves you too, man. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. Thank you. Over the last 3 weeks, I've taught you execution and multiplication. In episode 163, the 6 pillars taught you to deploy. In episode 168, the 5 scales taught you to multiply. Tonight, episode 178, we're going to be discussing the 3 thrones, which would teach you to dominate, right? But here's the difference. The 6 pillars are about your actions. The 5 scales are about your expansion. The 3 thrones are about your positioning, right? Now, it's not what you do, it's what you become. It's not about more activity, it's about strategic positioning that makes you undeniable. And here's the pattern you need to understand, right? It's a 6-5-3 pattern. 6-5-3 pattern, right? Because as you ascend to become a final boss, right, the framework count decreases, but the power increases, right? The power increases. You're moving from executing on many things to mastering few things at legendary levels. And tonight we're at the apex of that. The three thrones, the ultimate positioning. And when you claim all three, you become untouchable. You become the authority. You become the person everyone wants to be, but most never will be, right? Because claiming thrones isn't about effort. It's about positioning. So let's get right into it, man. Let's get right into it. So, right? Before we dive in. Oh man, I look, guy, I have a great relationship with Jesus, man. Let me tell you. It's my heavenly father too, bro. I got a big old cross on my arm right here, man. For the blood, bro. Pay attention, man. You concentrating on the wrong thing. Pay attention. You trying, I'm teaching. I'm teaching, man. I need you to pay attention, right? Listen. Before we dive into all three thrones individually, you need to understand what a throne actually is. Most people think of success as climbing a ladder. You work hard, you move up, you achieve more. But throne claiming is different, right? A throne isn't something you climb to, it's something you claim, right? Think about this. Think about all the actual monarchies throughout history. The kings and queens didn't become royalty because they worked harder than anybody else. They claimed a throne through strategic positioning combined with undeniable authority. The same is true in business, in your career, in your personal life, and in your business sector. At some point, you stop competing for position and you start occupying positions, right? You stop proving yourself and you start being yourself. You stop chasing opportunities and you start attracting opportunities. That's the shift, right? That's the shift. That's the shift from builder to emperor. Don't you go nowhere. Stay right there. No hall passes, no bathroom breaks. Stay there. Take notes. We just getting started. Listen, right? Listen, I'm the architect of insight, and I'm bringing it to you right now, right here, right now. And we're getting on board the fired up train, man. So stay there and pay attention. I'm gonna learn you something, right? Because here's what most people miss. You don't claim one throne, you claim three, right? Because true final boss status requires three distinct forms of mastery. The first one is excellence. You're recognized as the best, right? That's your excellence. The second one is influence. That's where you're recognized as the standard that everyone else wants to become, right? And the third one is legacy. That's where you're recognized as immortal, where what you're building outlives you. Now, let me break this down even further, right? Hey, Chef, how you doing? Chef Momo, shout out to Chef Momo. Now, let me break this down, right? Because excellence without influence, right? What is that? Right? What is that? Excellence without influence. You're a master craftsman nobody knows about. You're the best kept secret, which means you're irrelevant to the broader market, right? What's influence without excellence? You're a hype man. You're a hype artist with no substance. You can talk, but you can't deliver. Eventually, you will get exposed and eventually become irrelevant, right? Now, excellence and influence, but without legacy, let me tell you, You may dominate for a season, then you're forgotten. You win in your era, then history erases you. But when you combine all three, when you take excellence, influence, legacy, right? You become immortal authority. You become an immortal authority. You're the best at what you do. That's excellent. Everyone knows you're the best. That's influence. And your impact outlives you. That's the legacy, right? Now, that's final boss positioning. That's what we're building tonight. Now, let me show you the criteria for each throne, right? Let me show you the criteria for each throne. Listen, listen. The throne of excellence, right? The throne of excellence. The throne of excellence requires you to have 10,000 plus hours of mastery, right? 10,000 plus hours, right? After that, you need to have unconscious competence. That's when your skills are automatic. And the next one is innovation within craft, right? You're improving the methodology itself, right? And number 4 is consistent superiority. Your worst day beats most people's best day, right? Now, the throne of influence also has 4 markers, right? The first one is market definition. That's where you set the terms, language, and the standards. Then the second one is thought leadership. That's when people learn from you, not from the industry, right? And the third one is the network effects. That's when your influence multiplies through others, right? And then the fourth is the competitive market, right? That's your positioning that creates barriers for others, right? And the throne of legacy, it also has 4 markers. That's when you have generational impact. Your work benefits people you will never meet. The second one is institutional building. You create what lasts beyond you. And number 3, cultural transformation. That's when you change how people think and operate. And number 4 is immortal contribution. Your name remains relevant after you're gone, right? Now, notice how each throne has 4 specific measurable criteria. You can't hope your way onto a throne. You can't do it. The hope factor doesn't work here. You can't wish your way into mastery. The wish factor doesn't work here. You have to put in the work. You have to put in the work, 10,000 plus hours. And tonight, I'm going to show you how, right? I'm going to show you how. Now, let's start with throne number 1. Let's start with throne number 1, the throne of excellence, right? Excellence means when people need what you do, you're the only logical choice, right? Not one of the good options, not among you, not one of the good options. You're the only option. You're the top tier option, right? You're the only logical choice. That's what category of 1 means. You're so superior that comparison becomes irrelevant. People don't evaluate you against competitors. They evaluate whether they can afford you, right? Now, let me give you some real examples. When people need smartphones, they don't evaluate. They don't evaluate who? That's Apple, right? They don't evaluate Apple against the competition. They evaluate whether they're in an iPhone person or not, right? Apple claimed the throne of excellence in user experience so completely that they became category of one, right? But let me tell you, I'm Android all the way, baby. I'm Android all the way. But listen, when people need electric vehicles with autonomous features, they don't compare Tesla to other EVs. They evaluate whether they want a Tesla or something else. Tesla claimed the throne of excellence in EV technology so completely that they defined a category, right? Now, listen, even in my own sector, right? Even in my own sector and all the things that I've accomplished, right? When IT directors needed zero trust deployment, they don't compare, right? They ask, they evaluate. They evaluate whether or not their choice or other choices should be the option. They don't do that. They go to you, right? That's throne claiming. Now, here's how you claim the throne of excellence, right? First, you need to have 10,000 hours of mastery. 10,000 hours of mastery. Malcolm Gladwell popularized this concept, but here's what most people miss. It's not just 10,000 hours of doing something, it's 10,000 hours of deliberate practice with immediate feedback and constant refinement. I've been in IT and cybersecurity for 23 years. That's not 23 years of doing the same thing. That's 23 years of evolving my craft through, listen, working at the Pentagon, crisis management under fire, multiple combat deployments with zero failure tolerance in those environments, dealing with federal contracts, navigating those complex compliances while delivering excellence, and even in the private sector, right? Which is through market-driven innovation. Every environment refined my mastery. You need the same. You need 10,000 hours where you're not repeating, but you're improving, right? And then marker two is the unconscious competence. This is when your skills become automatic. When I'm analyzing a network, right? I don't think, let me check for this vulnerability, then that one, then the other one. No, my brain automatically processes those different threat vectors, right? Compliance requirements, architectural weaknesses, and remediation priorities. All of this is at the same time, simultaneously. That's unconscious competence, right? The analysis happens faster than you can explain it. You know when you've hit unconscious competence, when you can execute while doing something else. You can't explain how you do what you do. It's automatic. You catch errors before they become visible. You innovate without trying. That level of mastery, that's throne worthy, right? Now, the third marker, innovation within craft. This is excellence, right? This is when excellence isn't just doing the thing well, it's improving the methodology itself. For instance, right? For instance, I've developed proprietary methodologies that improve on a certain criteria, right? Through accounting for legacy and right for accounting for legacy system integration challenges that standard framework doesn't address, right? That's innovation within the craft. You're not just the best at executing the process, you're making the process better, right? And marker number four, which is constant or consistent superiority. This is the hardest marker to achieve, right? Because on your worst day is better than most people's best day. Now think about that, right? Think about that. Think about some of the worst days you've ever had. But you say to yourself, my worst day is better than Joe Schmo's best day, right? Think about it, right? On the day you're sick, distracted, exhausted, dealing with personal crisis, your output on that day is still superior to what most people produce on their best day. That's consistent superiority. That's what claims the throne of excellence, right? I've had days where I'm running on 4 hours of sleep, sometimes less than that, and managing family crises, right? And executing at a critical contrast presentation. I've done it, right? And I still deliver at levels my competitors can't match on their best day, right? Why? Why? Because excellence isn't about trying hard, it's about systematic mastery that operates regardless of circumstance, right? Regardless of circumstance. And how do you claim the throne of excellence, you ask? How do you claim it? Well, step one, you got to commit to the 10,000 hours of deliberate practice. Step two, you got to track your progress, right? Right. Step three, you got to document and systematize your innovations, right? Step four, you got to maintain consistent output. When you meet all four markers, you've claimed the throne of excellence. You're now undeniably the best at what you do, but that's only one throne. So let's keep going, right? Let's keep going. Now let's talk about throne two. Let's talk about throne two, the excellence of influence, right? The excellence of influence. Now give me a second. I have a technical issue I need to take care of real quick. All right, I'm back. Stay there. Don't go nowhere. It wasn't even 2 seconds, man. 2 seconds. I'm back. Right. Now let's talk about the throne. Throne number two, the throne of influence. Right. Influence means you don't just participate in the market; you define it. Right. And here's the difference. Participants respond to market trends. Right. Influencers create market trends. Participants follow industry standards, but influencers set industry standards, right? Take notes. Participants compete for attention. Influencers attract attention automatically. The throne of influence is about market leadership, right? Where your voice shapes how your voice shapes how everyone else thinks, operates, and competes, right? Now, let me give you an example, right? When Jeff Bezos talks about e-commerce strategies, he's not sharing opinions. He's defining how e-commerce works. His frameworks become industry standard. When Elon talks about manufacturing efficiencies, he's not participating in the discussion. He's setting the terms of that discussion, right? Now, even in my own space, man, I damn it. 1 second. All right, we're good. We're good. Test, test, test. Don't go nowhere. No bathroom breaks, no hallway passes. Stay right there. Take notes. Listen, take notes. Right? Where were we? I was saying something about my space. Yeah, not my space, but my space. Mine. Right? When I talk about zero trust architecture, right? Or zero trust architecture implementation, or consciousness technology. right? Or let me expand that consciousness technology integration. And I talk about that on my Merger Wednesdays episode, right? I'm not analyzing existing frameworks. I'm creating new frameworks that others will adopt, right? That's influence. Now, here's how you claim the throne of influence, right? You set the terms, language, and standards that others use. For example, I created what? The fired up train. That is a systematic, excellent methodology, right? Actually, systemic. No, it's systematic, right? I created the 6 pillars of success framework. I created the 654 and 653 pyramid structures for tiered systems, right? These aren't just my frameworks. They are my frameworks that my community uses. It teaches others. It references as standard, right? When your frameworks become the language others use, you've achieved market definition. And here's your textbook. Here's your textbook with all those frameworks, right? Each and every last single one of them. And go time the fired up train. All aboard the fired up train, man. Go get it. It's your motivation workbook, right? They're all in there. When your frameworks become the language others use, you've achieved market definition, right? Now, how do you achieve this, right? You have to create preparatory terminology for your processes. You have to document your methodologies into teachable frameworks. You have to share your frameworks publicly and consistently. And you have to license or permit others to use your frameworks, right? Now, ask yourself, are you a thought leader, right? Can people learn from you specifically, not from the industry generally? When someone wants to understand systematic excellence, they don't Google success frameworks. They come to the Final Boss podcast, people. Listen, they go read Go Time. They follow my content. Listen, when someone wants to understand zero trust architecture, right? They come to SatDigiNet, right? For that implementation and expertise. That's thought leadership. You become the primary source, not a source. Now, as a testimony, look, I've gotten a few emails, man. I've gotten a few responses, and one on here live yesterday, where one of my final bosses came on and said, "Man, thanks for your inspiration. I went out and started my own business." And I can't remember his name right now, man, but we're gonna call him Gary, right? And salute to Gary for making that a acknowledgement and bringing that testimony to us. Shout out to him, man. Look, how do you achieve this? You publish original research and frameworks, right? You teach publicly through content and speaking and writing, right? You build a platform, podcast, blog, newsletter, channel. You maintain consistency, right? You need to have at least 350 episodes, right? That proves your commitment. We're on our way. We just hit what episode? 178. We're on our way. We're halfway there, right? And then for market number 3, this is your network effects, right? This is where your influence multiplies through others. When others start using your voice, speaking your terminology, right? When I teach the 6 pillars of success, my followers teach it to their teams, who teach it to their networks. My influence spreads exponentially without my direct involvement. That's network effects. One person teaching 10 people is linear growth. One person teaching 10 people who reach and teach 10 more people, that's exponential growth, right? And how do you achieve this? I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you asked. Make your frameworks easily. Make them easily teachable by others, right? Encourage others to share your content, right? Like, share, subscribe. Go like, share, subscribe right now. If this information resonates with you, share it with 3 other people who you think needs this information. Create certification or licensing programs. That's coming up next, right? Build community where members teach others, right? Now, listen, we're all on this journey together, man. We're all part of the Final Boss community, Final Boss Nation, Final Boss family. We're all in this together, right? You see it, the Final Boss, right? You see it. So, your positioning creates barriers that protect your market dominance, right? Think about it like this. When someone tries to compete with Apple on user experience, they're measured against the standard Apple set, right? Apple's influence creates a competitive moat. Same with my positioning. When competitors try to compete with the Final Boss podcast, right? I'm gonna just say, numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie, right? We're setting a standard over here, man. Now listen, you want to know how to create a competitive moat, right? You must first be first in that framework, right? You must be a first mover. You have to have first mover advantage. Then you have to have what is called be the most comprehensive, right? Nobody can match your depth, right? And then be most consistent. Your track record is undeniable. Listen, my track record is undeniable. I'm on 5 times a week, live, 9 p.m., 5 days a week. 5 days a week, 5 different shows, right? You must be consistent. Your track record is undeniable. You must also build community, right? Final Boss community, Final Boss Nation, Final Boss family, smarts, Final Bosses, motivators, warriors. These are all part of the community, man, right? Now, how to claim the throne of influence, right? This is what you do. You want to claim the throne of influence? Pay close attention. You must develop proprietary frameworks with clear terminology, right? And step 2, you got to build a platform and publish consistently, daily, weekly, for years. Ice Cube said the other day, you must be in a position where, and accept the fact that you may be doing something for 5 years without getting paid for it, right? That's the level of dedication that you need, right? That's the level of dedication that you need. And step 3 is you must teach others to teach your frameworks, right? And step 4, maintain market leadership through continuous innovation. And when you meet all 4 markers, you've claimed the throne of influence. You are now the voice that defines that particular sector. But listen, we're not done yet because there's one more throne. There's one more throne. And this is the most important one, right? Now, throne number 3. The throne of legacy, right? Legacy means your work outlasts you and benefits people you've never met. This is the throne most people never claim because they're too focused on immediate results. Hey, don't you go nowhere. Stay right there. Stay right there. Get into the good part, right? This is the throne most people never claim because they're too focused on immediate results. They want to know, what's my quarterly review? What's my annual growth? What's my 5-year exit strategy? But legacy asks different questions, right? This is what legacy asks. Legacy asks, will my work matter in 50 years? Will my framework still be empowering people in 2075? Will my daughter's grandchildren benefit from what I built? That's the throne of legacy. That's immortality. Now, let me tell you why this matters to me personally, right? Let's talk about me personally for a second. My daughter, right, is my primary motivation. She's my why. She is the reason why I build every single thing, right? And I'm not building Sat Diginet just for revenue. I'm not building the Final Boss podcast just for revenue. I'm not. I want her to inherit an institution. I want her to be able to pass on something to her children's children, their children's children, continue to pass on these methodologies and these frameworks because IP matters. I gave a class last week on IP. If you don't know what IP is and you're a content creator, you better go watch that episode. Hint, hint. I'm trying to tell you, IP, you need to know what it is and what it does for you, right? I'm not going to go into that on this episode. Go watch it. It's on one of last week's episodes, right? Now, the Find About podcast, this isn't just about followers, right? I'm creating it so the frameworks I teach continue empowering people after I'm gone. I'm not writing a Go Time series just for book sales. I'm writing it so generations of people can transform from chess pieces to chess masters, right? That's legacy thinking. You want to know why books like Sun Tzu, The Art of War, or Think and Grow Rich, or any of the Malcolm Gladwell's books? People talk about these books, outliers, all the time. All the time. Is Malcolm Gladwell right there? No. Is Sun Tzu right there? No. Right? They're not. Because these are frameworks, right? These are frameworks. This is how you go from chess piece to chess master, right? Now, here's how you claim your throne of legacy, right? You know, I'm going to tell you how to do it. Marker number one, you need to figure out what it is that's going to provide you with generational impact. Your work benefits people you've never met. That's generational. Think about the inventors of fundamental technologies that we use daily, right? Tim Berners-Lee created the World Wide Web in 1989. He's benefited billions of people he's never met. The creators of public libraries built institutions that serve communities across centuries. The founders of universities created legacy that educates people for more than 500 years, right? Right? And for me, listen, Go Time, the Go Time frameworks, right? The Go Time frameworks will be taught by people I never meet, right? I never will get to meet. They will be taught the Go Time frameworks, man. The cybersecurity systems that I've had my hands involved in, right? That protect that those frameworks will protect organizations for decades, right? The podcast episodes I create will be assessed by people not even born yet, right? This is archivable. This information will be researched and be able to we talk 300 years, man. However long technology allows it to be captured, right? This goes into the archives, right? And then you want to ask how to archive generational impact. You got to document everything. Document your frameworks in permanent formats, in books and courses and systems. You build institutions that operate beyond involvement. You create intellectual property that transforms across generations. You establish succession plans for your work, right? Now, marker number two. Marker number two. This is your institutional building. This is where you create what lasts beyond you. Institutions are systems that operate independently of the founder, right? They survive leadership transitions. They serve missions across generations, and they maintain quality standards over time, right? Site Diginet isn't just my company. It's an institution, right? Standard operating procedures or SOPs that will function without me. Leadership bench strength for succession. Cultural values that persist beyond my tenure. Mission focus that transcends individual projects, right? Now, how to build those institutions? You got to document all your expertise into transferable systems. You have to develop second tier leadership who can replace you. You have to create culture that self reinforces without your presence. You have to build governance that ensures mission continuity, right? Now, marker number 3 is your cultural transformation. You change how people think and operate. This is bigger than teaching skills. This is transforming identity. When someone goes through the go time system, they don't just learn new tactics, they transform from them, right? We're talking about victim mindset to ownership mindset. We're talking about reactive behavior to strategic behavior. We're talking about individual thinking to systems thinking. We're talking about short-term focus to legacy focus. That's cultural transformation. And those frameworks can be found in Go Time, right? They can be found in Go Time, people. Listen. That's cultural transformation. How to create that cultural transformation? You want to know how? I know you do. And guess what? I'm gonna tell you about it. I'm gonna tell you about it. Stay right there, right? Don't you go nowhere. Don't you go nowhere. So, how to create cultural transformation? First, you need to target and identify change, right? Target, identify change, right? Or no, you need to target identity change. Yeah, that's it. Target identity change, not just behavioral change, right? You have to create frameworks that shift how people see themselves. You have to build community where transformation is normalized, right? You have to measure impact and life changes, not just content consumption, right? Listen, so many people are just doing, they're just doing things. There's no documentation. There's no methodology behind it, right? People are just doing things. I can actually go into whatever that business system or whatever a person is doing, and I can dissect it and build a platform for them from the inside out, looking at their methodologies and documenting it. And then that becomes IP. Listen, man, you need to learn about IP, right? You need to learn about IP, right? If you don't know what IP is intellectual property. I just built, trademarked, and copywritten my intellectual property portfolio catalog. That's right. I just built, trademarked, and copywritten my IP portfolio catalog, right? Listen, intellectual property, man, you need to understand what it is, right? And let's continue, right? I just gave you that tidbit. That was a golden nugget I just gave you. A golden nugget, right? Immortal contribution, right? We're still talking about legacy. Immortal contribution is when your name remains relevant after you're gone. Think about people whose names matter centuries later. People like Shakespeare, Einstein, Carnegie, Rockefeller, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and the list goes on, man. The list goes on, right? Think about that, right? You don't need to be a historical figure to create immortal contribution. You need to build something so valuable that people reference you for generations. When someone in 2075 learns systematic excellence, right? Will they reference the Go Time frameworks? I don't know. They might, though. They might. But listen, when someone in 2100 studies consciousness technology integration, will they reference my Merger Wednesdays research, right? That's the goal. That's the throne. How to claim the throne of legacy. One, you have to be able to think in 50-year time frames, not quarterly earnings. Step 2, you have to build institutions with succession plans, not just businesses, right? And step 3, you have to document Document your expertise for generational transfer, right? And step number 4, you have to create frameworks that transform identity, not just behavior, right? When you meet all 4 markers, you've claimed the throne of legacy, people, right? You're now immortal in your impact. And when you've claimed all 3 thrones, excellence, influence, and legacy, you've achieved final boss status and you're all aboard the fired up train, right? You're all aboard the fired up train, man. Now, let me show you how the 3 thrones work together as an integrated system, because here's what most people miss. One throne alone is incomplete. Excellent without influence, you're a master nobody knows about. Number 2, influence without excellence, you're a charlatan who just gets exposed. Number 3, legacy without excellence or influence, you're forgotten before your grandchildren die. But when you claim all 3 simultaneously, you become untouchable. Let me show you how to do this and how this integration works, right? Number 1, excellence provides the foundation. You develop supreme mastery through 10,000 hours of deliberate practice, right? Your skills become unconscious competence. Your innovation, you innovate within your craft, right? Your work or your worst day beats most people's best days, right? This creates undeniable compatibility, right? Influence provides the amplification. You take the supreme mastery and you teach it. You create frameworks that others adopt. You become the thought leader who defines the market, who influences, multiplies through network effect. This creates market dominance. Legacy provides the permanence, right? You take the market dominance and you institutionalize it. You build systems that operate beyond you. You create generational impact. You transform culture, not just individual. This creates immortality. And together, these 3 create the final boss, people. Yes, the final boss. Now, listen. Excellence says, I'm the best at what I do. Influence says, everyone knows I'm the best. Legacy says, my impact will outlive me. Let me give you a real world example of all 3 thrones working together. Listen, Steve Jobs and Apple, man. Let's talk about Steve Jobs and Apple, right? Because Jobs was a master of product design, user experience, and brand building. His attention to detail was legendary. Every pixel, every curve, every interaction was perfected. His influence, right? Jobs didn't just make products. He defined what personal computing, smartphones, and tablets should do, right? His framework, simplicity, integration, user first design became industry standard. His legacy, right? Jobs died in 2011, but his impact continues. Apple operates using his principles. Designers worldwide reference his standards. His frameworks influence billions of people he never met, right? That's 3 throne positioning. And here's how you integrate all 3, right? Here's how you integrate all 3. Phase 1, you build excellence. Excellence can take anywhere between 1 to 10 years, right? Phase 2, you build influence. That can take anywhere between 10 to 20 years, right? We're not doing anything short term over here, people. We're building legacies and thrones, right? And phase 3, this is the building your legacy. Legacy building takes anywhere between 20 to 50 years, right? It doesn't happen overnight. And most people always want all 3 thrones immediately. That's not how this works. We're not popcorning our way to the throne room. We're not popcorning our way to building legacy, right? It doesn't work like that. We're talking about being here centuries later, right? This is what we're talking about, people. This is what we're talking about. Most people want it immediately, right? They want the excellence. They want to be influential, and they want to be legendary all in year 1. Let me tell you, it's impossible. It's impossible. You hear about people who think they established this level of excellence and be influential and legendary in year 1. They're here for 1 year, then they're gone tomorrow. They're gone tomorrow, right? You don't even hear about them. They're one-hit wonders, right? Right? But they don't even make it to the wonder part. They don't make it to the wonder part. Listen, excellence takes about 10 years of mastery. Influence takes 10 years of consistent teaching. Legacy takes 30 years of institutional building, right? Now, listen, in 23 years of my federal service, I've also built DigiNet. I've built multiple other businesses. And right now, we're on our way to episode number 200 of the Final Boss podcast, right? They say you need to have 350 episodes to be legendary. I'm going to hit that mark. We're going to hit 350 episodes. That puts you into legendary status, right? I'm in the influence phase right now. We're building toward the legacy phase. You need to understand exactly where you are, right? Years 0 to 10, you need to focus on excellence, become undeniably the best. Years 10 to 20, you need to focus on influence, become the voice that defines your market. In years 20 to 50, you need to focus on legacy, become immortal in your impact, right? Right? You think these seasoned gentlemen who run this country didn't get where they were because they stopped in their 20s? No, they got 60 plus years in, right? 60 plus years in. That's legacy, right? And here's the secret I didn't tell you. Here's a secret. You don't wait to phase 3 to start building legacy. You build legacy in mind from day one. Every system, everything you do, you must think of legacy first, right? You must think of legacy first. Every framework, you must think of legacy first, right? Every framework, man. Listen, look, let's talk about go time. Every framework. Let's talk about go time, right? Every framework. Go time is designed to be taught for generations. It's a motivation workbook, and it's written in a way that it can be teachable. We're not talking about motivation from an energy perspective. We're talking about motivation from taught disciplines, right? Every episode I record on the Final Boss podcast is designed to empower people that I've never met. I don't know some of y'all, man. Some of y'all are this. I'm looking at your names. You are not in America. I know that for a fact, right? And the languages that you write in your comments, I know for a fact, right? People I would never meet, right? That's strategic thinking, right? Your focus on excellence now while building the foundation for influence and legacy later, right? You focus on excellence now, right? While building the foundation for influence and legacy later. That's 3-throne integration. And I know I'm going to go over. I know I'm going to go over, man. So y'all stay with me. I'll probably go over for about 20 minutes. Stay with me, though, right? Now, let's get tactical. Y'all know I love to get tactical, right? So let's talk about throne claiming in your specific life, right? Because here's the reality. Most of you listening right now are not ready to claim your all 3 thrones. And that's okay. The question isn't can I claim all 3 thrones tomorrow? The question is, what throne am I currently pursuing and what's my next step? Let me break this down for you in my current position, right? If you're in excellence phase, you're in 0 to 10 years of mastery. Your only job right now is developing supreme capabilities. Don't worry about your influence. Don't worry about legacy yet. Don't worry about your platform. Don't worry about building that said platform, right? Or your content creation or thought leadership, right? You just become undeniably excellent at one thing, right? I used to tell my artists when I had a record label, man, you need one single. You need to make that one single, and it needs to be perfect, right? You're going up against the other 1% of all artists in the industry who have major backing. Why do you think your product is better than theirs? You need to be able to perfect one thing, right? One thing. That's your roadmap, right? That's your roadmap. Perfect one thing. You have to identify your primary domain. You have to commit to 10,000 hours. You have to track your progress. You have to document everything, right? You have to maintain consistency, man. Look, look, ask yourself a daily question. Did I improve on something today, right? And at the end of the week, what did I learn from this week that made me better, right? And do monthly assessments, right? And are you on track to 10,000 hours of mastery, right? Ask yourself that. How much? Then ask yourself, do like yearly evaluations. Man, you have to start documenting these things, man. Now, look, you want to be a master of your life, you have to do it through documentation. That's the success key. You have to do it through documentation, right? And after year one, after the first year, you ask yourself, how much closer am I to unconscious competence, right? Ask yourself that. Those are some of the questions that you have to ask yourself, man, in order for you to be able to say, I am building this mastery, right? Now, while I'm thinking about uh that level of mastery, right? That's that's the key, man. If you've constantly been doing what you've been doing your whole life, I've said this before, and it hasn't gotten you anywhere, you're barely head above water, right? And everything you do, you can't get your head above water. You're treading in the middle of the ocean with sharks all around you. And you've been doing that your entire life. Your entire life. If that's you, then it's time to try something different. It's time, crazy. It's time to look at a different way. And I'm not saying my way is the best way, but I'm saying it is a way, right? The methodologies in Go Time, man, is broken down for you, right? You have to apply it. Just like you have to apply anything that you learn, right? In order for you to tie that shoe that you're wearing, you had to apply that skill. In order for you to learn how to ride a bike, it took practice from repetition, right? That's all I'm saying, right? Now listen, let me pivot for a second and zoom all the way out. Let me zoom all the way out and show you exactly what we just completed, right? Because this is episode 178. We just finished tier 3 elite execution, right? But let me show you how complete the Go Time architecture is, right? And tier 1 was your character foundation. That's the Go Time book, right? In that book, you have position 1, which is the 6 pillars of success, which is motivation, sacrifice, consistency, perseverance, persistence, and resilience, right? Who you need to become, right? That's the question of the book, right? Who you need to become. In position 2 of the same book, we talked about the cornerstone of magnificence. Your cornerstone of magnificence is your why, the foundation. That's your identity, right? And then position number 3, which is momentum code. That's to creating of unstoppable forward movement, right? Now, let's move forward to tier 2. This is your strategic building. This is Go Time 2, which probably come out sometime this summer, right? Sometime this summer. Y'all gonna have to wait for Go Time 2. I'm not gonna give you the juice or the sauce on that. And then early next year, probably in the winter of 2027, Go Time 3 should be coming out and published, right? All the manuscripts are already done. They're going through editorial review as we speak, right? But in those in those books, you will find that there's a pattern, right? In tier 1, the pattern is 631, right? The 631 pattern. That's a framework. In tier 2 is a 654 pattern, right? In tier 3, it's a 653 pattern, right? 38 frameworks across 3 tiers, right? Notice, right? Notice the descending pattern in the final position of each tier. Tier 1 ends with momentum code. Tier 2 ends with weapons of warfare, right? And tier 3 ends with thrones of mastery, right? I just gave you some juice. Right? And notice how tier 3 specifically descends 653. And as you ascend to final boss status, complexity decreases, but power increases. But you move from executing many things to mastering few things at legendary levels. That's progression, right? That's progression. Tier 1 asks, who do I need to become? Tier 2 asks, what do I need to build? And tier 3 asks, how do I dominate after I build, right? The answer is execute, multiply, and claim your thrones. People, you have to claim your thrones. You can't execute tier 3 without infrastructure, tier 2. You can't build infrastructure from tier 2 without character in tier 1. You can't deploy character from tier 1 without decision and commitment. Listen, this is systematic excellence, right? This is the complete go time methodology. And if you've been riding the fired up train, right, through all of these episodes, through all 3 tiers, through all 38 frameworks, you're now in the top 0.1% of systematic thinkers in the world, because most people never complete tier 1. Some make it to tier 2, but finishing tier 3, that's legendary. But here's what I need you. This is what you have right now, right? You have a complete foundation of tier 1. Let's go time. All aboard the fired up train, right? Tier 2 infrastructure is on its way. And so is tier 3 architecture, right? You have the excellence, right? You have the infrastructure. You have the execution frameworks, right? You're ready to become a final boss, whether you believe it or not, right? The question is, will you deploy? Because in order to be excellent, you have to deploy and practice. You need the 10,000 hours. You need 10,000 hours, right? Now, let me get some Java juice. Delicious. Delicioso. Let me paint this picture, right? The fired up train doesn't stop at the station. We started this journey in episode 1 of the Final Boss podcast. You're boarding the fired up train as a chess piece, hoping so you become a chess master. And now, on episode 178, the train just arrived at the throne room. Let me walk you through what that means. Tier 1, the foundation station. The train pulled into the station, you learn character. You learn the 6 pillars of success: motivation, sacrifice, consistency, perseverance, persistence, and resilience. You learned your cornerstone of magnificence. That is your why. You learned the momentum code on how to create unstoppable forward movement. You became someone capable of excellence. The train didn't stop. It just picked up passengers and kept moving. In tier 2, the building blocks, right? The building station, the train pulled it to the next station. You learned about infrastructure. You learned about the 6 building blocks of reward: vision, discipline, skill, relationships, finance, and vitality. You learned the 5 systems of sovereignty: time, money, knowledge, body, and relationship. You learned the 4 weapons of warfare: strategic thinking, tactical execution, and adaptive intelligence, follow through. You built everything required your domination. The train didn't stop. It picked up more capabilities and kept accelerating. In tier 3, the execution station, right? The train pulled into the final station. You learned about domination. You learned the 6 pillars of execution: the strategic deployment, consistent application, skill implementation, network activation, resource multiplication, peak performance. You learned the 5 skills of empire: time, income, impact, network, and legacy scaling. And tonight, episode number 178, you learned the three thrones of mastery: excellence, influence, and legacy. You deployed everything as a championship level. And now the train arrives at the throne room. And here's what it means. Here's what it means. The journey from chess piece to chess master is complete. You have the character, you have the infrastructure, you have the execution frameworks. Now you can claim your throne. But here's the critical truth: the fired up train doesn't stop at the throne room. It transforms, people. It transforms, because once you claim your throne, you're no longer a passenger. You become a conductor. Let me explain. As a passenger, you were learning the frameworks. As a conductor, you're now teaching the frameworks. As a passenger, you were building capabilities. As a conductor, you're now multiplying capability through others. As a passenger, you were focused on your own success. As a conductor, you're now focused on generational success. That's the shift from builder to emperor. And that's what's powerful. Once you become the conductor, the fired up train becomes your train. You're no longer riding someone else's vehicle. You're no longer a passenger in someone else's story. And the passengers, right, are on your train. They're the people you're leading, teaching, influencing, and leaving legacy for. And here's my question to you: are you ready to stop being a passenger and start being a conductor? Are you ready to stop consuming frameworks and start teaching them? Are you ready to stop building your success and start are you ready to stop building your success and start building your legacy, right? If yes, then tonight is your graduation point. Tonight, you transition from student to master. Tonight, you move from learning to leading. Tonight, you shift from passenger to conductor, right? Welcome to the throne room, right? Your kingdom awaits, right? Now, as you know, I have to do call to actions, right? I have to do call to actions. And tonight is no different. This is your challenge for tonight, right? Just like in episode 163 and 168, I'm giving you 30-day challenges. But this one right here is different. The previous challenges were about execution and multiplication. This challenge is about throne claiming. And here's how it works, right? I want you to do a 30-day challenge. Pay attention. Stay right there. No bathroom break. No hall pass. We're almost done. All right? I said 8 minutes. We're going to make it at 8 minutes. Right? Stay right there. Pay attention. Starting on February 1st, right? Or tomorrow, if you will, right? Yeah. I want you to commit to all 3 thrones over the next 30 days, right? Days 1 to 10, I want you to focus on excellence, right? Excellence in your daily actions, right? I want you to document. I want you to be consistent. I want you to track your progress, right? And then at the end of the day, I want you to ask yourself, did I improve today? Right? And by day number 10, I want you to identify 3 specific areas where you've achieved unconscious competence, right? Days 11 through 20, I want you to focus, right? I want you to focus. I want you to create one thing, one content, one teaching, whatever, look, framework, something, video, post, article, reel, whatever you want to call it, create something. I want you to share your expertise with 3 people. I want you to document your methodologies, right? I want you to document it. It's very important that you do that. And then I want you to publish on whatever platform you decide to publish that information on, right? Whether it be social media or a blog site, something, publish it. Then you ask yourself every single day, between days 11 and 20, ask yourself, did I teach my frameworks at any day in that particular time, right? And by day number 20, I want you to have 10 pieces of published content and documented frameworks, right? And days 21 through 30, right? This is where legacy is. I want you to document one system of generational transfer. I want you to identify one person that you can mentor. I want you to create one framework that you think may last for 50 years or more, right? And number four, I want you to take action toward institution building, right? And then I want you to ask yourself these daily questions. Add this to your daily question list. Did I build something today that will outlast me? Right. And then by day 30, I want you to have a comprehensive documentation or succession plan. Right. You see, all these things are scalable. I mentioned in the beginning that you must do this plan between 10 years, 10 to 20 years, 20 to 50 years, 50 to 100 years, right? Those are thought processes, right? And now we're scaling it to a daily process, right? So everything's scalable, man. Everything's scalable. I mentioned a few weeks ago whether and I said this. I said whether you're a billionaire, a millionaire, a thousandaire, a hundredaire, a diamondaire, or a centenaire, right? All things are scalable. The things that the things that billionaires do, millionaires are doing. The things that millionaires are doing, thousandaires are doing. The things that thousandaires are doing, hundredaires are doing. The things that hundredaires are doing, teninaires are doing. The things that teninaires are doing, centenaires are doing, right? It's all scalable. You just have to have an understanding of that. And once you do, then you can scale up and build, right? You can scale up and build, right? So, and for accountability purposes, I want you to post, man. Post hashtag throne claiming. Post Finder Boss Challenge, right? And know that we're here every Monday at 9 p.m. And I'm reviewing everything I see. I'm constantly looking out there, right? Looking for these challenges, looking for these hashtags, looking for your scorecards, right? There may even be some prizes in it eventually, man. I've been thinking about giving away some prizes, right? Like these are examples. These are examples, right? Like the top 10 executors, right? Who pass consistent scorecards and achieve 25 plus throne claiming days, right? They may get a 30-minute strategy call with me, right? For free. That's free. That's free information. They may get a free signed copy of Go Time 3 when it launches. Go Time 3, right? They may get featured right here on the podcast, right? They may have an invitation exclusive to the throne claiming mastermind, right? But here's the real prize. 30 days of deliberate throne claiming will position you in the 0.1% of your industry, of your life, right? You'll move from participant to having a definitive voice. You'll shift from building to claiming a kingdom. You'll transform from hoping for success to occupying authority. And you have to know, man, who's ready to claim their throne? Who's ready? Right? I need, who's ready? That's the question. And we're about to close out. I said in 8, and I'm gonna make that point, right? I'm bring this on home. This was tier 3. Tier 3 is now complete. But here's the critical question. How do you integrate all 3 positions into one cohesive execution system? Because remember, tier 1 taught you how to execute. That was your 6 pillars to success. Tier 2 taught you how to multiply. That was your 5 scales of sovereignty. Tier 3 taught you how to dominate. That was the 3 thrones that you learned tonight, right? But these aren't separate systems. They're one integrated architecture. And here's how they work together. Tier 3, integration protocol. Phase 1 is the execution. Phase 2, right? Phase 2 is multiplication, right? And phase 3 is domination. I've been saying that throughout the show tonight, right? You need complete integration. Every single day you need to execute. Every single day you need to review. Every single day you need to assess. Every single day you need to adjust, evaluate, right? You're not just executing these tactics, you're building an empire. You're not just achieving goals, you're claiming thrones. You're not just creating success, you're establishing legacy. And here's what most people miss. Most people miss this very key point, right? All 3 phases run simultaneously. You don't finish execution before starting multiplication. You don't finish multiplication before starting domination. You're always executing, multiplying, and dominating, just with different emphasis based on your timeline, right? Based on your timeline. That's the integration protocol. That's how you deploy tier 3 as a complete system, right? Now, we're at the end. I said it. We're at the end. We're at the end of episode 178. And we just completed something historic. We just completed tier 3. Elite execution is now complete. The 6 pillars of success taught you to deploy. The 5 scales of empire taught you to multiply. The 3 thrones of mastery taught you to dominate. Now you have the complete architecture for final boss status. But here's the truth that nobody wants you to hear. Having a framework means nothing if you don't execute. You can know every pillar, every scale, every throne, and still be broke, still be invisible, and still be forgotten. Because knowledge without implementation is just entertainment. Frameworks without execution are just theory. The question isn't, do I understand the 3 thrones? The question is, am I claiming my 3 thrones, right? So let me challenge you directly. This is your throne of excellence. Have you asked yourself, have you invested 10,000 hours? Are you achieving unconscious competence? Are you innovating others in your domain? Is your worst day better than most people's best days? Those are some of the questions you need to ask. If no, stop reading books and start practicing. Excellence isn't learned, it's earned through thousands of hours of deliberate practice. Throne of influence, you have to ask yourself, have you created proprietary frameworks? Have you built a platform? Are you publishing consistently, daily or weekly? And you've been doing it for years. Are others adopting your methodologies? If no, stop consuming content and start creating, right? Influence isn't given, it's built through thousands of hours of value delivery. Are you building systems that operate beyond you? Are you developing second-tier leadership, right? Are you thinking in 50-year timeframes? Will your work benefit people you will never meet, right? If no, stop chasing money and start building institutions, because legacy isn't about wealth. It's about permanence. And here's my call to action, right? Here's my call to action. Before you go to sleep tonight, identify each throne you're currently pursuing. Action number 2, tomorrow morning, take 1 action toward claiming the throne. Action 3, if starting February 1st or starting today, begin the 30-day throne claiming challenge, right? And action number 4, join the Final Boss community. Post your daily scorecard at hashtag throne claiming, right? And action number 5, share this episode with 3 people who need to hear this message. And action number 6, get your copy of Go Time, right? Go Time. You need this one in order to get the other 2. Now, when I say that is, they work together as a system. You need Go Time 1, you need Go Time 2, you need Go Time 3, right? You need all 3. to complete the system, right? That's actionable. You can't buy and go get Go Time 2 when it comes out and not have Go Time 1. You're not going to understand what you're reading. And then if you get Go Time 3 and don't have the other two, you're not going to understand what you're reading and where they come from. I don't care if you use AI to try to transcribe, and you're not going to get it. You're not going to get it. You need Go Time 1. You're going to need Go Time 2, and you're going to need Go Time 3. It's a system, right? You're going to need all three. Last, that right there will complete the system, right? And here's my final words, right? My final words for tonight. For 178 episodes, I've been teaching you systematic excellence. I've taught you character in tier 1. I've taught you infrastructure in tier 2. I've taught you execution in tier 3. Now it's time to graduate. You're no longer a student. You're no longer a passenger. You're no longer a chess piece. You're a conductor. You're a chess master. You're a final boss. Your throne is waiting. The only question is, are you ready to claim it? Right? Are you ready to claim it? Listen, I am the Final Boss, and this has been the Final Boss podcast. You can follow me on all social media at Turbo the CEO or at the Final Boss podcast, right? Look, this is us signing off tonight on episode 178. We have just completed the tier 3, completion of tier 3, right? To my smarts, you thought I forgot about you tonight. I didn't. My smarts, they think at the highest strategic level. My final bosses, they build empires systematically. My motivators lead through love and legacy. And my warriors execute with relentless excellence, right? 2026 is your year to claim your throne. All aboard the fired up train, now departing for the throne room. I love you all. Now go claim your kingdom. It's go time, baby. It's go time. Let's go, man. If this resonates through you, man, let it marinate in your spine. Reach one, teach one. Iron sharpens iron. Listen, go tell other 3 people who may need to hear this. Tell 3 other people who need to hear this. And remember, there's a heavy pain that comes with discipline, but the pain of regret is even heavier. I am here. We are here. And to all of you out there, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Be balanced, be equal, and be smart. That's our show. That's our show for tonight, man. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being patient and sticking around and being here. Look, that's it. That's it. Have a good one.